You're here. Congratulations. I'm really super happy that you're here with me today. My name is Debra and I am a certified master dementia strategist. I taught for the Alzheimer's Association for many, 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 many years. I have trained thousands of caregivers and people in senior living communities and family members. And oh my gosh, whoever you are, I've taught people just like you. So today I want to talk about what? I'm shooting a video. I'm shooting a video. Sorry. Okay. So my name is Debra. I'm a certified. What? I'm in the middle of shooting a video. Have you ever experienced that when somebody just like cuts you off? They interrupt you. People cut you off when you're in the middle of a sentence, you're talking along, and they just jump right in. Because I think people do that a lot. They cut each other off. We cut each other off. We have something to say. And what? What? I just said I'm in the middle of shooting a video. This is not the right time. You got to give me a few minutes. How does it feel when somebody interrupts you or cuts you off? How does it feel when you're talking and somebody chops you dead in your tracks? What does that feel like when you're on the receiving end of somebody interrupting you? Because to me, when somebody interrupts me, what it says to me in my psyche is what I'm saying isn't important. You're not listening to me. You're not listening to what I'm saying, or you think that what I'm saying is not valuable enough to be listened to, or I'm not valued enough to be listened to, that my voice doesn't matter. That's what I feel when somebody cuts me off. So I want you to think about that for a minute. What does it feel like to you when somebody cuts you off? You certainly don't feel very important, do you? In fact, you feel the opposite. You feel like you're not important. You feel like you're not valued as an individual. Your ideas, your whatever you're saying is not of any value to the receiver. So today, that's what we're talking about. This is one of the biggest mistakes that caregivers can make. We tend to cut off the person with dementia when they're trying to speak or get their point across. And we have got to stop doing this. Not only does it make the person with dementia feel terrible, but it's also rude. But here's the thing, people with dementia, it takes them a lot longer to get something out or to organize their thoughts and, maybe even speak a full sentence. And it was funny because I totally remember when my mother was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and she and I went to the neurologist together. And the neurologist, his name was Dr. Started with a T. Oh my God, he was one of the best in this area. And from what I'm told, he moved away. Wasn't T-Bo. What the heck was his name? Anyway, if I think of it, I'll blurt it out because I would love for him to contact me. But anyway, I went to one of her first appointments and he's asking her questions and I'm answering them. He's asking her a question and I'm the helpful daughter and I'm jumping in and I'm answering them for my mom. She was totally capable of answering her own questions. And at the beginning, her dementia was very, very, she got diagnosed very, very early. In fact, she might have even had mild cognitive impairment at the time of her diagnosis. But I'm answering the questions and then he would kind of look at me, right? When I'd answer and he would just politely smile. And then he'd ask her another question and he'd look over at me and he'd smile and he'd write it down. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, you want her to answer, right? Because then he started almost asking her like cognitive questions, I think, which was when I finally caught on. I was like, oh, duh, idiot, right? So now this was long before I had any dementia training. So anyway, it was kind of funny, but I also realized quickly in my home care business, I would go over and do an intake for a new family who was looking for home care services. And I would go and I would be interviewing mom or dad to find out, where maybe they thought they needed some help. And the daughter, the helpful daughter, is just taking over the appointment and making all the recommendations. Oh, they need this, they need that. Blah, 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 blah. And I would ask mom or dad a question, daughter would answer, like same situation. And so I've been on both sides of this, right? I've been on the professional side, I've been on the daughter side, making this mistake myself. And I've also seen families do this when they're just having a normal everyday conversation, like, what do you want for dinner? And, maybe they start to say something and then they interrupt them. Or we could have this, right? So people with dementia are struggling with, first of all, they're struggling with trying to interpret what you're saying to them. It takes them an incredibly long time to process what you've said and try to understand what you said. Then they have to coordinate their answer to you, and then they have to try to articulate that in their own sentence and their own vocabulary, and they have trouble with that. So we're kind of like waiting. And, most of us, we're like super busy and we got an agenda and blah, 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 and we don't want to wait and whatever. And we don't even really think about it. We might ask the question again because we might think that they didn't hear it. Or we might try to word it a different way so they can understand it. But what you're doing is you're cutting off their processing, right? They're in the middle of processing and you're cutting them off, and now they got to start all over again. So, but when they start to speak, do not interrupt them. And if they start to speak a sentence and they stop abruptly, don't say anything. I know you want to try to jump in and help them find the word really quickly, but try not to do that. Try to pause to try to give them enough time to get it out on their own. Because sometimes that's where their frustration comes in, because they're like, damn, I almost had it. And she jumped in and now I don't even know where I'm at. I have to start all over again and I don't even remember what I was doing now. So we as the cognitively intact, we have to be really, really careful with how quickly we jump into help, how we're helping, and are we really helping, right? Is what we're doing really helping them, or is it helping us to move things along more quickly? Because we've got to slow the hell down. We've got to slow down to like a turtle's pace. And that's hard for some of us. And I'll tell you, when I first started teaching dementia, when I first learned about dementia, I'm like, oh shit, I could never do any of this. Like, good thing my caregivers are going to be doing it, because there's no freaking way in hell that I could slow down or do any of these techniques. There's no freaking way, because I'm like the Energizer Bunny. That's Debra costume. I'm like, how fast can I get shit done? Right? That's me. So, so slowing down, but I trained myself and I taught myself how to do it. And now I can turn that on and off in a second. Like, you put me in a room with a person with dementia and it's completely different, but it's automatic for me now. Like, I don't even have to think about it. But maybe you're just learning these techniques. So this would be something that you actually have to stop and think about before you walk into the other room, right? And then if you find yourself or catch yourself cutting them off or rushing or going too fast, then you have to think about it. Okay, when did it go wrong? Was I going too fast? Was I cutting them off? Was I not giving them enough time? Did I jump in too quickly? We have to start working on ourselves in order to better the communication with that person with dementia. And the first thing I want you to do is stop cutting them off, because what you're telling them is you're not important and I don't give a shit about what you're saying. And that's not going to get you anywhere. The more you can build up the person with dementia's self-esteem, the more results you're going to get and the less behaviors you're going to get. So if you stick with me, I can get you to a point where you can diminish about 80 to 90% of the problems that you're having. I can get you to a point where you can get rid of 80 to 90% of the stress in your life. Guilt, gone. Like, if you stick with me and if you do what I teach you to do, and it's not hard, I can get you there. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of caregivers to this level, and they all say the same thing. It's easy. It's amazing. It's life changing. I've got my relationship back. I got a raise at my job. So join me. Join me. These are modern dementia strategies that you can't find anywhere else. I'm going to give you scripts. In fact, I'm going to give you about 250 exact scripts of what to say and not to say to a person with dementia. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't say them. And I'm going to show you to learn where it went wrong so that you can then fix it. It's really easy. So if you want to spend a few days with me and have one hell of a really good time and get rid of your stress, reduce the behaviors, and actually get techniques and scripts that are going to work day to day, minute to minute, when things are up, how to calm them down. When the explosion happens, learn how to calm them down in seconds, then you're in the right place, because I love teaching it. I love seeing your success. I love the reports that I get, because every single student wins. Every single student wins. So if you want to join this modern dementia movement, if you want to learn these easy techniques and strategies, then come on, because this is crazy. Seriously, you won't even believe it. All the students, they say the same thing too. They're like, yes, I got everything I was promised, and I got so much more. Like, I didn't even know this existed. Like, I didn't even know this was possible. It's undescribable. So anyway, if you want to learn more about the course, just book a call on the website, answersabout.alz.org. It's listed somewhere down there. And talk to a dementia coach, and we'll see if it's a good fit for you. I'm Debra Costu. Stop cutting them off. Stop cutting them off. That's number one. I'll see you soon. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.